And call to order the Ellettsville Town Council meeting for Monday, August 11th, 2025. Chief, prayer?
Our Heavenly Father, once again, we come before you this evening and ask for your blessings, we ask for your guidance. We just ask for all the patience we have to work with the thing we have to do. We ask you to bless our employees and bless those we serve. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Chief?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Scott Oldham.
Here.
Dan Swafford.
Here.
William Ellis.
Here.
Trevor Sacker.
Here.
Pamela Samples.
Action to approve minutes for the July 28th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstain.
Action to pay accounts payable vouchers and payroll vouchers.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? There are two resolutions this evening. The first is Resolution 21-2025, additional appropriation local roads and streets.
I guess since nobody else is here in their conference, this is money being moved into the local roads and streets to pay for the community crossings matching grant. All the streets have been paved. They're all in really good shape now, so we're ready to pay the local contractor.
Okay, what was that? What's the bill on this? What we're moving?
I don't know that. I'm sorry. How much was the money that we were moving to the local roads and streets to pay for the community crossings grant?
About $252,000
Yeah.
total.
No, it's 224,215.10 as denoted on some of our paperwork. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, the bid was $252 and the bill came to $240, $224.
So the resolution this evening, the paperwork we have is for 244,215.10. If that's incorrect, we'll correct it at our next meeting, but I see no reason not to proceed unless you do.
Yes.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
No worries. Questions from council?
What was this for?
It's to pay for the community, to pay the contractor that did the work for the community crossings grant, putting the pavement in place.
Okay, so this is our share of it,
Well,
or how does that?
Go ahead if you want to.
it has to go from, is it MVH to local roads and streets? Because it has to be paid from the local roads and streets
So
fund.
flow through.
Okay, so this is, are we, okay, so we're just going from one fund, from capital outlays, right?
Yes, it's coming from the bridge and road to the local roads and streets, because that's where it's got to be paid out of.
Okay, so more of an accounting error, or accounting or
Yes, just
then,
moving from
yes,
one
we're
line
not,
to the other.
we're not spending that much money directly. I mean, because it's, gotcha, all right. I'm jumbling my words today, I'm sorry, but I understand exactly what you are, and I hope the public can
Because
kind of.
my
piece together.
restricted fund is in the MV8 415 restricted line.
Okay.
Further questions from council? Any from the public? Seeing none online or in chambers, we'll move back to council.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 21-2025, the additional appropriation, local roads and street.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Scott Oldham.
Yes.
Dan Swafford.
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Trevor Sacker.
Yes.
Next resolution this evening is Resolution 22-2025, accepting bid from Integrity Exteriors LLC to replace the fire station roof.
So you will recall at the last town council meeting, there were 3 bids opened for the fire department roof. The lowest was from AMI Roofing for $93,500, and the next lowest was from Integrity Exteriors LLC for $116,589.15. And as you are also aware, the town is required, when they request bids or quotes, they are required to accept the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. And upon examination of the bids, the fire chief determined that the lowest bid was not responsive to his request for quotes in 4 different ways. The bid did not include flashing along the roof line. It didn't include snow and ice guards. It didn't include ice and water shields for the roof decking in the valley, along the bay walls, along the roof openings, or along the vents or flue pipes. And the bid included a ridge vent at the peaks only. So the purpose of this resolution is to just set forth why the town might accept the next lowest bid from Integrity Exteriors for $116,589.15.
Okay, and this awards the bid to that company, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Questions from council? From the public? Seeing no one, back to council.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 22-2025, accepting bid from Integrity Exteriors LLC to replace the fire station roof.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
motion carried.
There's an ordinance on first reading this evening, which is ordinance 2025-18, imposing a wheel tax and motor vehicle license excise tax.
I was asked to create this ordinance, and as you are likely aware, if the town wants to get local road and bridges matching grant funds, you are going to be required to pass a wheel tax, and you can't just pass a wheel tax. You also have to pass what's called the motor vehicle license excise surtax, and so you can pass it in one ordinance if you want, pass them simultaneously. So that is the purpose of this ordinance, is to establish a wheel tax fund and motor vehicle license excise surtax fund. Under the Indiana Code, you have some choices and some leeway with regard to how much you can charge or want to charge. The wheel tax is essentially for commercial vehicles, and it's $5 to $40. The motor vehicle license excise surtax is essentially for passenger vehicles, and it's $7.50 to $25. I was asked to set the tax for the wheel tax at $5, and I was asked to set the municipal surtax at $15, so it's going to be a total of $20. Paige Sansone from Baker Tilly calculated how much the town would make at $5 and $25, or I'm sorry, at $5 and $15, and she estimated the town will earn just under $90,000.
Questions from council?
So-
Although this is on first reading, this bears probably some questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question I had, and I think I asked this earlier, but I can't remember. The wheel tax, if we enact this, will we still be charged from the county?
Yes.
So this is gonna be like a double hit then? We will still be charged the same amount from the county?
You will still have the county charge, so when you go to register your car every year at the BMV, yes.
And
Yes.
then another thing, a question that I was told, and I'm not sure if this is true, and I think I asked you to look into it, Darla, but I was told that if you do pay the county wheel tax, you are still eligible for the grant, as long as you are paying this. Did you get a chance to look into that?
Okay, well, I will look at the Indiana code again, but what I've got in front of me is 8-23-30-2, which discusses the local road and bridge matching grant fund. And at the end of that statute, it says, beginning on June 30th, 2027, and on June 30th of each year thereafter, the state controller will make a transfer under subsection J, and the state controller shall distribute the funds as follows. Then the statute goes on to say, to be eligible to receive a distribution, a local unit must have adopted a wheel tax, adopted the local technical assistant program at Purdue University with an updated transportation asset management plan, which the town has, and that's your Exhibit A to the ordinance. And then there's another section of the code that says you can't pass a wheel tax without passing the surtax. So I'll double check that code for you, but that's what 823-30-2 says.
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm asking, though? That in essential, we have adopted that back whenever the county did. So are we not in, does that not count towards
Does
it?
it work that way, though? Because we didn't adopt that.
No.
Our financial advisors told us
Yeah.
we needed to pass this, or we wouldn't receive funds for the community crossing grant anymore.
Yeah, it says the local unit, so,
So this passing keeps us eligible for community crossing, correct?
Correct.
yes.
Mike, just for the public that doesn't know, how much grants are we bringing in every year from community crossing?
One of these two would talk to them.
Approximately averages about 250,000 a year.
So pretty sizable. And then, I guess, educate me and the general public on this. If this would go through, is this an annual thing, the BMV at the time of renewal, that
Yes.
tax is paid for?
Yes, it'll be every year when you renew your registration. And then the BMV has 21 days, once they collect the money, they have 21 days to remit the funds back to the town, and then Noel puts it in a fund. And then if the town wants to use the money for purposes allowed by the statute, she has to go through the process of doing an appropriation. We have a public hearing in order to take money out of those funds, the wheel tax fund and the excise surtax fund.
Okay.
And to be clear, what Dan asked, this does, they use the term stack on top of the county tax.
Yeah, if I may, with the monies we've been receiving from this, to be short, CCMG, what we call it, every year, it's been an average of 7 to 8 streets that we get to resurface from year to year. I think one year, of course, the money stays in the restricted line, and if we don't use all of it from one year, then the next year we get to use a little bit more, So I think one year we actually resurfaced almost 11 or 12 streets one year. That's a good chunk. If I don't have that money to resurface these streets, then only thing I have to go with in my restricted line, I don't know the exact numbers, is right around 130,000, and that's what I use for my matching portion of the grant. And besides the crack sealing and all the other preservation stuff, the liquid road that you guys seen when you came in, that's where that comes from, is from that, so.
And also, one year, didn't they fund us to replace a culvert?
Yes, we had a very big culvert replacement that was on Deer Park Drive in Spring Valley subdivision that was in really bad shape, so.
And in fact, the sidewalks in front of the Area 10, wasn't that from that too?
Well, yeah, we did, yeah.
And my understanding is that there's like two pots of money. If we don't pass a wheel tax, we get the pot that's left over after everybody else has pulled from that.
Well, if I understand
But there's not
right,
much left.
if we don't pass it, we don't get the chance to get that. So only thing I'm gonna have to resurface the streets is just that $100 and some thousand, and that's not gonna go very far.
I do think I still think it's not completely contingent, but the amount of money we'd get would be, when you're talking about like streets, we'd barely have enough. I mean, there's some that we could pull from, but to be clear, these grants or taxes our residents are already paying. And if we don't do this, that money they're paying is gonna go to other communities.
Exactly.
And so, but to be, just for transparency, I'm pretty sure, and Darla, correct me, is there two funds now that this, like a non-wheel tax fund and a wheel tax fund, and the non-wheel tax fund's pretty small?
There are two funds, and I don't know that Paige broke down for us what goes into the wheel tax versus what goes into the excise surtax, but both of them together will make $90,000.
Right, but I'm talking about a fund that, not locally, but for the grant, the matching grants. If we don't have a wheel tax, we can still apply for some grants, but the grants we can apply for are greatly limited.
Yes, I think that's true.
Okay.
And then, one other quick question. It was $5 for the wheel tax and 15 for the excise surtax? Is that
Yes, yep, I think that's what I did.
How did we come up with those numbers? Just, Sure.
think
It-
that's a
Go ahead.
Delicate balancing act.
Baker Tilly and Mike Farmer, so.
Oh, okay.
Well, tell them what they suggested from what our budget projections are.
There was some suggestions that if we're going to implement this, to get the most out of it, and especially in the light of SB1 and all the limitations to future revenue sources for the town, that we would impose the maximum, which would be $65. And, after talking to a couple board members and trying to catch a, see which way the wind's blowing as far as what they thought, they asked for it to be as little as possible.
On the wheel tax, the town can charge up to $40. On the motor vehicle license excise surtax, you can charge up to $25.
So it would be 65 combined, maxing both
Yes.
funds out.
And is there any reason why one, we picked 5 and 15 for the other? Is there a?
To keep
a
it as
different-
low as possible.
Right, but I mean, it says we could go 7 for the one.
I was about to say, why not?
It was-
10?
Right. I mean, was there any reason why we choose to take more out of one than the other?
No, I think it's just the way it's set up.
Those funds go in the same, the money goes the same place, correct?
I don't know why they can't call it one fee and be done with it, but they don't.
Right.
I don't either.
I don't understand that.
So just quickly, if the council will give you a forbearance here. I'm very hesitant to criticize other governments, but tonight's going to be one of those nights. SB 1 was passed by the Indiana House, Senate, and signed by the governor. It is essentially, for want of a better word, an elaborate bait and switch. Whereas the state is going to drop your taxes, and then it's going to tell the localities, the locals, you have to raise the taxes. So did you actually gain anything? You did not. But it makes the state people feel like they've done their good deed. And I'm going to tell you all folks this will not be the last of these things that see is being forced upon us by the state of Indiana. We could choose not to do that, in which case your services will have to be cut, and there will be layoffs from town personnel. And no one wants to do that. So that's why we're trying to keep everything as low as we can, just to keep moving on until the state sees its good graces to do something about the travesty that they passed. This will bankrupt several counties and several cities or towns. We have yet to even see the beginning of the iceberg, so we're trying to be a little proactive and hopefully not push any more pain down the road than we have to. But the state didn't think this out, and all they turn around and says, well, locals, you can do this, 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 and this. And we're gonna have to be the bad guys just to survive. This is not about adding. This is not about adding a dime to the coffers of the town. This is about making back a little bit about what the state's gonna take away. And we're going to be very lucky if we make it through the next 4 or 5 years without being so far behind that it's gonna be almost impossible to grow to catch up. So this won't be the last of these we have to do. We have to do this, or we will not pave your street. We have to do this, or there will not be snow removal. There will not be enough police or fire out. There will not be anything else because the state of Indiana has cut the money so much that we will have to reduce our personnel to the point where we just are not capable of doing some of the things we do currently. And then the state turns around and says, well, but you could raise this, and you could raise this, and you could raise this. Well, we can, but no one wants to. So that's the shape every city and town is in at this point, and there's no good direction coming from the state about anything other than, well, raise the local tax. Okay. So they can pat themselves on the back and say, look what a good job we did by cutting your property tax, cutting your other taxes. But oh, by the way, your local people, they're going to have to make that up somehow. So to say that this puts us in a bad way, it certainly does. This is not our intent to create more taxes or to create more pain for anybody living here. But if you like the services you have currently, we're going to have to do this, or we're going to have to figure out another way what we're doing. Because there will not be, and Baker Tilly, and we'll see next week in the budget, they're very adept at this, and they're projecting some very grim times coming up. Even with the passage of this and some other things that the state is telling us, but you need to do this. And that's just barely scraping by, guys.
And I do want to say too, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I've always phrased this bill as the worst of both worlds, because one of the things that needed to be done for property taxes is capping the year-to-year increase. and no matter what the assessment was, it fails to do that. So if assessments start going high again, residents are not going to see any property tax relief, yet we're still going to be constrained by the same constraints we are now. And I mean, there are some, I really think, relatively simple fixes to this. I mean, as an example, you guys look at Ellettsville, you see all this new growth, and you're like, why are we having struggles with this? Well, because the state only lets us capture 4% of the total growth, and they define growth as your property being worth more. That's not growth, that's investment increasing. Growth is actually new construction in my world, and we are doing wonders with that, but we cannot fully tax that. So, and that's why there's so many complaints with, I don't want to pay for new growth, and that's why we're doing everything we can where, like this, without this, current residents would be paying for all that new growth because we are limited to how much we can take. But they could have done that and capped the year-to-year things for existing residents, but I think that was too simple. So I'm going to join Scott in my little rant, but I want to set the expectations for people. Next year, your property taxes are probably going down because there's a credit. The year after that, maybe, but 2028, those credits go away. And I'm hoping this is revisited. It has to be.
Yeah, and again, along the lines that we're dealing with the wheel tax here to help fund DPS. I just want the folks out there who are listening, who will see this or who will read about it to understand, it is not the state of Indiana who plows your road when it snows. It is your local DPW that goes out and plows that road. It is not the state of Indiana who shows up when your house is on fire. It is the local fire department who shows up to do that. It is not the state of Indiana who does so many things that make it so enjoyable to live here and so easy to live here. It is these people in this room, excluding this council, who make that possible. And the state of Indiana has decided that they just want to remove a lot of that, or at least push back on us being the bad guy to fund what you already have. All in the name of, as William said, a pretty elaborate plan that's really not going to save you much money. So I'll get off my soapbox, gentlemen.
One other question, I think this has already been asked, but this is a yearly annual deal. We have to do this every year, right?
Yes.
That's all.
Tax every year?
No, it'll show up on your registration every year.
Yeah.
When you go to renew
So we
your
don't have to
plates.
renew
Yeah,
the
correct. I'm
amount?
sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
that's-
meant.
That's what I mean. You will pay the tax every year.
Right.
Per vehicle.
Yes.
So this is going to be available online, or you can come get a hard copy of it, I assume, if you want to look at it, the public. It's not something we're going to vote about this evening. It's probably be revisited next 2 weeks from now.
That will be voted on next meeting.
Right, because we're, again, at a hard deadline by the state, so we can't play around with this. So that'll come back to us. Moving on with the meeting, there are, sure, absolutely.
To the public watching this, if you're really against the wheel tax, I'm open to suggestions on where we can get the funding from. Because we're in a situation where no is just not an answer. I mean, I know I'm probably missing something. Any of these council members you can come to and say, hey, did you think about this source or that source? But we can't just say no, and then in the winter, you're gonna be saying, as Scott said, why is there 6 inches of snow on my road? Well, because we listened to you. But this is a hard decision we're gonna have to make. None of us are happy with it. I'm sorry, I just needed to
Absolutely.
say it.
You guys good? So moving on with the meeting, for this evening, there are no ordinances on second reading. There is no old business. There is no new business. We're now privileged of the floor. Anyone having business for the council not part of our normal agenda, please approach the podium. Didn't know if we were daring each other, if you were going to get up there or not.
Okay. Valerie Dwarf from the Chamber Board. Listening to you and the concerns that we have, if the Chamber could get together with you and help with any public education on this issue, or in fact any issue, that would be a good idea as well. Because this not only affects private citizens, it affects our businesses.
Anyone else? Seeing none, move to supervisor comments, beginning with town manager.
Yeah, I'd remind everybody that the next meeting is also we're going to have a working session for the budget prior to the regular meeting. Hope everybody comes. There's a lot to talk about. If you like scary movies, like slasher movies, this is going to kind of fall under that. It's going to be pretty grim. And if you want to understand what we've been talking about for the last 5 minutes, come to the meeting. I think Baker Tilley's going to do a presentation and explain not only where we're going to be next year, but the next 2 following years, and our budget is going to represent what we think needs to happen for 3 years, not just next year. So it's important to talk about it and get the word out. And I just want to remind everybody that that's next 5 o'clock, I think, we start, and that's a working session for the budget.
Are we going to have any numbers before then?
I think we have the numbers available. If you contact Noelle, she's gone for a couple days. Thursday, she will invite you in, and you can view only the budget as it stands now. It's went through 3 cycles already where we've slashed our expenditures. So it's about bare bones, but you can look at it, and I failed to send out an email this weekend to say,
Yeah,
just
I haven't
contact
seen anything
contact her and you can view the whole budget.
Normally, they send it to us, but I
Well,
guess
we can do that
contact
as well, but you can look online and see it. If you want a printed copy, we can get you a printed copy.
them. Yeah, definitely.
And just for the public, I'll warn you up front, you will see some reduction in services beginning this year,
That's right.
and it will get worse before it gets better. Chief?
Excuse me. Thank you. The only thing I have is that there's some paperwork in your folder for the parade permit. You need some signatures on it, if you would, please. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
At some point, we need to revisit, or I guess republicize, the required mass gathering permit for some things, because we've had a couple of things begin to really push the numbers. So we probably need to have some public education on that concerning what's happening. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Chief?
Appreciate you approving the roof repair, but we need to discuss where we pull the funds from. What I'd like to do is finance it for like 3 years and spread the cost out so that I don't completely deplete the cumulative building and equipment fund, which is what we use for repairing fire trucks, putting tires on them, engines, that sort of thing. And if I pay the whole thing out of there all at once, it'll all but zero out that line.
If we finance, can you get me some numbers on the actual finance cost plus the closing fees, what extra fees that would?
There weren't any closing fees, and depending on the term, yes, I can,
Okay.
but he said it'd be well under $4,000, worst case scenario. But I can find out for sure.
Kevin, were you originally thinking 2 years too?
I can try to do it in 2 years. What I did, like our 3 Durangos, we financed them for 3 years, and then thankfully we didn't have any catastrophic problems that year, so some of the funds that I had budgeted for what ifs, we took that and paid off. It was basically like 8 months balance of the note, so we paid it off early.
I wouldn't mind seeing the difference from 2 to 3 years personally.
If I could suggest, since we don't know what our budget's gonna be, maybe doing that, stretching it over 3 and paying it over 2 if we could.
Right.
That way he's got some cushion in case we really get desperate.
Yeah. Sure.
So I can call tomorrow and see what we can do it for 3.
I mean, essentially that payment's gonna be a firefighter's salary.
Right.
So if it's a question of stretching it 1 more year and leaving a firefighter on the job, or
Yeah. I mean, if
laying
that's
one
the
off.
case, yeah.
So,
On the, like I said, the fees, I just don't want to spend any money we can avoid. Normally, I'd say if you needed it in your fund, we could transfer it from the general, but the general fund's going to be under such pressure in the next couple of years. I don't know if I can confidently say we can do that.
The only pressure I'm in right now is when it rains
Right.
inside, so.
You're going to get your roof, no matter what.
Atmospheric pressure, right?
Kip?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Council comments? Just one real quick, if I may, and because it just got brought up, I think inadvertently. Like to say both thank you and congratulations to not only the supervisors in the room, but the supervisors over the last 15 years who realistically rescued Ellettsville from being bankrupt. And again, I've reminded the council before, but in 2006, we had $0 in the bank beyond one payroll. Now we have a general fund that is hopefully going to get us through these very weird times, but it came at the cost of a whole lot of scrimping, a whole lot of saving, a whole lot of patching, a whole lot of repairing, a whole lot of, well, we'll just make do. But that making do by these people in the room and their predecessors is what's hopefully left in us a position that we don't have to do some incredibly drastic things. I don't think the general public really realizes what these folks have gone through over the years with equipment that functions barely, equipment that starts 2 out of 10 times, equipment that required an hour's worth of repair to do a 12-minute job, and all the pain of having to look at your employees and saying you're not getting a raise this year because we can't afford it. But yet they stuck with us year after year, year after year. So congratulations to all, to your predecessors and from this council. Thank you. Anything else, gentlemen? Seeing no other business, we adjourn.